Hello friends, and welcome to another part of my answers to Wiggly questions. Okay, the first question today is, are you, Murray, Anthony and Jeff going to make a reunion comic with Marvel? And that comes from Carson Maitland-Smith. Now, that's a great question. I don't have an answer to that because at the moment the answer would have to be no, we're not, because there's nothing on the cards about it. But could be a great idea, and maybe Marvel will want to do something with us. I'm not too sure. But keep your ear to the ground, everybody. Keep listening out for further developments on that one, but I wouldn't hold my breath. This one comes from Jen from the David's Way, Shane and Jennifer David. Now, this is a great question. Have you written or recorded any new songs? Well, it just so happens I have. I've written many new songs actually, but they're for various projects that I work on. So you'll see this marvellous studio that I'm sitting in at the moment. This is actually the studio where I work on all the projects that I'm involved in. So that's 2x2, which is a great Christian project for children. So check us out on Facebook or here on YouTube. So click the link here and follow us to YouTube. Check us out on Facebook as well. But we're also on TV with that show. It's oh gosh, what's the best way to describe it? We have 13 episodes. They're about half an hour each. Combination of live action and animation, and we have great messages there for children. So based on the Christian faith, I was raised as a Christian, of course, and now we're helping to spread some positive messages throughout the world with 2x2. So check us out on TBN, which is the Trinity Broadcasting Network. They have Smile of a Child for children, and also you'll find us on Daystar TV. Here in Australia, you'll find us on ACC TV and Daystar as well. They're on the Foxtel network. Now, I must say I'm not in that show. I'm behind the scenes in that show. I'm producing that with my friends Anthony Costa and Paul Simon. Now, Anthony Costa is a great talent. He's an amazing songwriter, and I work here with him almost every day on lots and lots of stuff. But primarily, 2x2 is a focus, and we've got some amazing songs there, so check it all out. Other things I've been working on, a project called Let's Activate, which is a program to help children get into sport and help them get involved in physical activity to help people keep physically fit and strong. And we have some great songs there. Another great project I'm working on, which is about to sort of be released soon. I can talk a little bit about it now. It's called Team Rescue, and that's an amazing project because it's going to help save children's lives. So I'll have more to say about that pretty soon. And there's 4 characters in that one. There's a firefighter character, a police officer, a lifesaver or lifeguard, and a paramedic. So we teach safety messages across those 4 core emergency services. So that's really cool. I love that one. I've written a lot of songs for that. And yeah, I'm really proud of everything that I work on because I believe that it's actually going to do a lot of good in the community for children, helping children to learn things, helping them to understand how life works, and hopefully helping them to stay safe and stay in a better place in their lives. So that's one thing that I've been working on. Of course, then there's all my other projects that I work on myself, and I'll have an announcement about a project of my own a little bit later today. So keep your ear listened out for the bell if you subscribe. I think there's a little bell that might go off if you subscribe to my channel. You'll get a notification that I've posted something, and there's going to be an announcement very soon about something pretty cool. Dr. 17th Who, that's a great username. Hey Greg, what is your favourite song? Well, I think I have answered something similar to this. If you're talking about my favourite Wiggles song, I think I would have to say Monkey Dance, or even actually Point Your Fingers and Do the Twist is pretty cool too, but I'd say Monkey Dance. That's a really good song. If you're talking about my favourite song in general, any type of song, wow, that's a tough one, and I would have to really have a good hard think about that, which would take too long to do right now because I've learnt that I'm going to keep my talking to a minimum now and move on to the next question. So Dr. 17th Who, stay tuned. I might have to answer that one later. Now we have a question here from Faith, and I think it's Faith Tejada or Tejada. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, so my apologies, Faith. But I love your question. It's to do with Elvis. Hello, Greg. My name is Faith. I live in California, USA, in Campbell. I was wondering if I can ask you a question about Elvis Presley. See, my grandma was a huge fan that collected Elvis-related items, lots of them. When she passed away, we had to pack up all her collectibles she had. Well, I'm sorry to hear that she passed away. It's a very tough time, and when you've got to pack up the possessions of your loved ones, that's even more difficult. So I'm sorry you had to go through that. Since you're an Elvis fan, I was wondering if you would know anyone in your family culture who collects Elvis. Well, Faith, I am a big Elvis fan, and I am a collector of Elvis Presley memorabilia and artefacts as well. I have a museum here in Australia called the King's Castle, and you can check it out here somehow. I don't know how we do this, because actually the guy I spoke about earlier, Anthony Costa, who works in this wonderful facility with me, he takes care of all that stuff for me. He just sets up the camera and lets me sit here and answer questions all afternoon, and then he takes care of putting all these things in. But you can check out the King's Castle somehow here, I'm sure, or check it out at thekingscastle.com.au, and you can find out a little bit more about my Elvis Presley collection. So yes, Faith, I do collect Elvis memorabilia and things like that. So again, sorry to hear about your grandma. I hope everybody in the family's coping okay with that. Now, this question comes from Rita, and it's still on the same line of questioning about Elvis. Hi, Greg. We miss seeing you perform with the Wiggles. Oh, thank you very much. Sorry that you missed me. I miss it too. It was a wonderful part of my life, and I loved it very much. But now I'm doing other things that I'm really happy with. And Rita Caruana, I think it's pronounced. Rita goes on to say, do you still collect Elvis memorabilia? And yes, I do, because I just spoke about that, and I do have that museum called the King's Castle here in Australia, and you can check it out online. As I said before, somewhere here there'll be a little link that you can scroll back and click on to check it out. Now, question here from Charlie Plowman. Hi, Greg. Were there ever any song or video ideas you really wanted to do with the Wiggles but couldn't? Now, that's a good question. Look, probably not, Charlie, because, one of the great things about the Wiggles was that we weren't one specific genre of entertainment. I mean, whilst we were children's entertainment, we had to keep everything wholesome and clean, of course, but we were very free artistically. So we could do any musical style that we wanted. So we were very, very lucky in that sense. So if we wanted to do Greek music, as we did towards the end of my time with the Wiggles, we could do Greek music. If we wanted to do French folk music, we could. If we wanted to do rock and pop or jazz or swing or whatever, you name it, we could do it. So we were pretty free in that sense. And so we're very lucky that pretty much whatever we wanted to do, we were able to do it. I think one of the other, constraints or restraints around what we did was always budget, of course, because, we were self-funded and we had to watch how we spent our money. We had to make sure that we invested it wisely and did good things with it, so that we could keep on doing what we were doing. So, no, they were the kind of restrictions around what we did. And look, as I said, we were very, very lucky. We got to do pretty much anything we wanted to do. Now, we have a question from Beetle Kid. It's a great username, and you'll understand why this person is called Beetle Kid when you hear the question. Greg, I get you. You are good at this social media stuff. Well, that's good. I'm glad you think so. I have a few questions. Are you a vegan? Question number one, that is. Are you a vegan? The answer to that is no, I'm not. Look, I like vegetables, but not enough to be a vegetarian or a vegan. I do love eating meat, I'm sorry to say. I don't know, I just find that I can't go off meat. I just feel I need it in my life, and I'm sorry if that offends anybody. But I guess, in this world we are allowed to be who we are and not be judged or be looked down upon for our choices, as long as they're not hurting other people. And the next question from Beetle Kid is, do you like the Beatles? Well, yes, I do. And you love them too, Beetle Kid, and that's why you're called Beetle Kid. The Beatles are amazing. They're I prefer their stuff from the early days, not the later stuff so much, but they did have some good songs in the later days, but the early stuff is really, I guess, what inspired a lot of my musical tastes and probably projected some of that into what we wrote with the Wiggles and still what I'm writing these days with the various projects that I'm working on. Actually, Anthony Costa, who does all this wonderful work here with me, he's a big Beatles fan, and one thing about Anthony is that he's more of a songwriter than I am. I always say that I'm more of a jingle writer. I can write short, catchy little songs, whereas Anthony, when you check out the stuff with 2x2, you'll see what I mean. You'll probably be able to tell his songs over mine, but some of the songs we actually do collaborate on, so it might be a bit harder to tell who wrote what. But yeah, his songs are very much more inspired by the Beatles than what my songs are. My songs are based on very simple, catchy lyrics and catchy melodies, very simple like that, whereas Anthony's songs are very catchy too, but they're a bit more in-depth than mine. There's a bit more depth to his. So check out 2x2 and you'll see what I mean. Now we have a question here from Jenna F. Hey Jenna, how are you? Well, you're asking me, how are you today? Well, I'm very, very well, because I've got some really great things happening in my life. I'm at a very good place, and as I said, there's a very cool announcement coming up very soon that I want you all to check out, because it's something that I'm starting up pretty soon and I want you all to be a part of. So I'll announce that later. So check it out. But yes, that's why I'm happy and excited today, Jenna. So thanks for the question. Now here's one from Buddy Katz. When did you become a fan of Elvis, and what made you become a fan? When you first started in the Wiggles, what did you think? Oh, sorry. Well, I'll answer the first question first. Okay. So I became a fan of Elvis actually when I was on tour with the Wiggles. We were driving around in country New South Wales here in Australia on tour, the four of us in a Tarago van. So that's like a little people mover type van. So there was Jeff driving, Anthony was in the front passenger seat, I was in the back behind Anthony, and Murray was sitting to the right of me. And Anthony would just play Elvis songs from the 1970s, just the whole trip, and he'd sing along to them. And I'd never really heard a lot of Elvis before that. So this is probably around 1994, so I was 22 at the time, and Anthony was probably 31. And Anthony is a big Elvis fan, so more of an Elvis fan than I am, right? I do love Elvis and his ability to perform and connect with an audience, but I was never into his movies as a kid growing up. They were always on TV, but I never sat and watched them. Anthony was. He loved Elvis, right? My real connection with Elvis came about because of that experience of listening to Elvis in the car and hearing his voice, an amazing voice, but hearing the TCB band, who were his backing band, his rock band that played with him, combined with an orchestra. And that's what Elvis's shows in the 70s were all about. It was about, to me, what resonated was the energy that was created by the TCB band. And Ronnie Tutt, man, Ronnie Tutt is like, I reckon, the most energetic drummer I've ever heard, and I've been very, very fortunate to have been able to play with Ronnie, and he's become a friend. But Ronnie, if you see this video, man, you know what I think about you, and you are incredible. And I mean, so many people in the world know that about you, Ronnie. You're just amazing, and you've had such an impact on many, many musicians. So it was that energy that the TCB band created, combined with the beautiful sound of the orchestra. And of course, Elvis's voice on top of that was just so smooth. And that's really what grabbed me about Elvis's performances. Then when I visited Graceland for the first time, I think it was around about 1998 or 1999. I can't remember exactly the year, but when I visited Graceland and found out more about the person that Elvis was and his personal life journey and his struggles in life, about personal relationships, about his fame, that all really resonated with me as well. So yeah, just a lot of depth to Elvis's story, and that's why I started collecting things from his life to try and tell his story here in Australia, because a lot of Australians can't get to visit Graceland in Memphis and have that experience that I had, where you get up close and personal with his items and see the things that he had in his possession, the clothes that he wore, the jewellery that he wore, whatever it might be. And that was a really powerful experience for me. So I wanted to be able to create that same experience for people here that can't travel to the US. Look, I'm taking forever to get through these questions, but I'm determined to get there. So please come back, check out the questions when I update the videos, and don't forget to look out for another video from me today that's going to make a special announcement that I do really want you all to be a part of it, and I want you to check it out because I think it's something that's pretty cool, and I think children will like it as well. So see you real soon, everybody, and stay tuned for more answers to Wiggly questions. Bye now.